we're going to talk about our two brains. I don't know if you've ever heard this idea or this concept that we have two brains, but according to HeartMath Institution, they've done these studies, and I don't know if you, HeartMath Institution, I've been researching them, following them. They have very good, resources and information on how our heart works together with, our planet, with our, our universe. And, because a lot of times we can get in conversations with people and we have all these terminology and all these different, things that we're hearing. And it's like, is this weird? Is this true? Is this out there kind of stuff? I want to talk today about our heart and the magnetic field that we have, how it works together with our earth. And I have to use the HeartMath Institution as a really good reference because these guys have done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe even at this point, thousands of reviews for top companies, huge organizations. They've gone into, there's multiple NBA basketball teams that use them. They use them to train Olympic athletes for the United States and other places around the world. They're used, even Kobe Bryant was used in some of their information. They've published things in top institutions with places, hospitals, and a lot of different so these guys they have top psychiatrists, the doctors in the world. They've done so many studies over. Dr. Oz has used this stuff. Tony Roberts has used this. There's been a lot of famous actors and actresses, and just they have very, very sound information. The reason why we, the public, the general audience, hasn't heard of it is because we don't make the money enough to learn it. So the great thing about YouTube and information is when I stopped drinking, I started feeling a lot of stuff in my heart. The more I'd eat things like, my pistachios, and the more I'd eat like fruits and things like that, and more I learned, my heart started like opening up more and more, and I started just knowing things. I started like gathering information. I started like, it was like I had this knowing of things I never knew before. And, I didn't understand that. And if you've gone through that, I want to try to, the best I can explain this, because here's the thing I'm coming from. Like, you got to understand, like a couple years ago, a year and a half ago, I'm drinking all the time. My wife has a part-time job at a hair salon. We were kind of we're having a lot of legal problems with custody. I was trying to get out of a company where I had a rogue partner who had taken a whole bunch of money, and I was having a lot of, I guess, economic problems with that, and legal problems with that. We have 8 kids together. Now here's the thing. We have 6 of us in our household have been diagnosed with ADHD. Not just like ADHD, we've been diagnosed with ADHD. We have the medical papers that we've been ADHD. We've had a lot of Adderall flow through our house, a lot of medicine to try to calm these things down. And, that's why I used alcohol. And that's why we used, there was a lot of video games and processed foods and, a lot of things that we probably shouldn't be using, we were using at that time. So this was just a little over a year ago. Our nervous systems in this household was berserk. And I was leading the charge in that. I didn't know any better. I was eating tons of meats. I wasn't eating any fruits. I was drinking a lot of alcohol. I was, using Prozac to calm my nerves down. I was, doing anything I could to just to survive to the next day. And when I stopped drinking, it actually happened because I was outside with my animals. My wife had all these chickens, and I was outside. This was this spring. And I had stopped drinking. I was trying to stay busy, and I was out there with my chickens, and I was out there working at the earth, and it just hit me. Some kind of force hit me. Some kind of electrical force hit me. And I knew that this earth had something to do with electricity. For literally 3 or 4 weeks, all I could talk about was Nikola Tesla. I had never even really heard of him. I started researching everything I could about him, just the craziest things, because I felt intuitively that there is something more to do with this planet, this earth, this life that we live in, that has to do with this electricity. I've come to understand in my life, if you ask me what my spiritual life is, my spiritual life basically boils down to learning how to deal with these energies. This earth is full of them. And there's positive energy and there's negative energy. And this HeartMath institution, they've done so many researches on trying to figure out how this works. And I'm going to give you basically word for word what, these professional athletes, these NBA teams, the Seattle Seahawks use this stuff. These professional people, they know this game where everybody else, we're kind of out there. We haven't quite figured it out, but we're getting there. And this kind of information really helps. And the best way I can describe that, I write articles. I wouldn't say articles. I write ideas on things that I'm researching, and I throw them on Facebook in the form of articles, basically because I have ADHD and I don't want to forget them. So now you have the scoop. You wonder, like, why do you have so many weird posts? It's because my ADHD mind will start researching things, and then I don't want to forget it. So I'll put it in a way where I don't forget it. I'll put it on Facebook in the form of some kind of, like, I'll say an article, but it's not really an article. You're inside my brain for a little bit, seeing the stuff that I'm researching, because more than most of the time that stuff comes back and it ties into like what I'm talking about. About 3 weeks ago, I did this thing on an octopus. This is the best way I can describe this, because my wife had told me that these octopuses are crazy. They're really, she thinks they're aliens, man, that they don't come from this planet. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to research these, octopuses. And somebody gave me this really cool YouTube video on it. I can't remember the name of it, but it's about a half hour, 45 minutes, and it blew my mind. Do you know that octopuses have 9 brains? Kind of 10, but 9 brains. 9 brains. They have one central brain in their mind brain, and then they have one in each one of their legs. And I'll just kind of read off so the brain part of the octopus is the strategy and it's the coordination. So it's the part of that strategizes its next move. It knows where it's going. It knows how to get the bones moving. It knows how to get the skeleton moving. It knows how to get everything moving. It's the central. It knows how to do that part. It knows how to get it into motion. In strategizing, is something coming at me? Do I have to move this way? Do you know that an octopus is colorblind? That blows me away. Think about this, because here's what an octopus can do. It can change colors to its environment based on what's coming at it. Not only can it change colors, but it can shift shape. It can have one shape and then it can shape to the environment that's around it. And how is it able to do this? How is it color? Now think of this, an octopus is colorblind. And if you watch this thing, it kind of hovers over, hovers and then it goes down. And it turns the color, whatever it falls down on, it turns that color in that shape. Then it gets back up and it goes and it floats around and comes down. And they're very fun. They're very intuitive. They're very friendly. This video shows that these people have built a relationship with it. They like to play. They have fun. But they have a system that has 9 different brains. They have a whole bunch of different hearts, and each one of these brains do different types of things. And this is really important because we're very similar to this. Now, the shape-shifting in these octopuses is kind of interesting because this isn't even a brain. The shape-shifting part of it is basically the octopus is basically a large eye. It's basically a large eye, because the way our eyes take in information, we don't see from the lens of our eyes. We see from the back of our head into the retina, and it processes back out. And so that's how we get our information. So this is up to skin. It's not actually where we see the things. It's our brain telling us what we see and putting that image into our mind. The octopus is the same way. It lays down in that eye, basically the whole octopus, which is an eye, turns the color into whatever it's laying on, and the octopus can't do it because it's colorblind. It's amazing. So here's what an octopus has to do. It has to just do what it knows it has to do. It has to protect itself. So here's an octopus. I'm going to go down into my surrounding. I'm up, down, up, down, up, down. And it gets into rhythm with itself. It gets into rhythm with itself. It knows how to process the rhythm with itself. So when danger comes, it knows how to drop, and it trusts its other brains to do its job. Now, here in the HeartMath Institution, this is proven facts. This is proven facts. According to HeartMath Institution, we have 2 brains. We have our central brain up here that's processing most of the same thing as the octopus. It's processing our strategy and our coordination. That's what it processes. But do you know that our heart actually has its own nervous system I never knew this. Our heart has its own nervous system. And that nervous system sends more messages to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. That's crazy. This little heart, do you know that it actually helps determine what you're going to feel about a danger before the danger actually even arrives? Proven. This is proven facts. Heart Math Institution. You can go on there. I'm not a scientist guy. I just like to research it and say, hey, what's going on in here? Why did I lose 65 pounds last year just because I ate some fruits? It isn't because of the diet stuff. I really don't. I don't go to a gym. I don't work out. Why did I get nicer? Why did I get nicer while I was losing weight? Because some people lose weight and they get more mean. Why did I feel these electric currents going through my body? Why do I feel so energized? Why can all of a sudden I sleep only 6 hours a night and that's enough? Or why do I feel less stress? Why? And you start to just wonder, and I start researching this, and then it's right here. It's right here. And the things that they tell you to do are basically things that we can do every day. These are things that we already do, and this is why it's so. I don't know much, guys. I'm about to be on my 1 year anniversary of not drinking. Honestly, this isn't about me not drinking because that's the last thing in my mind. I wake up every morning like it's Christmas because I feel ready and energized to find out clues to help understand why I'm changing so radically and my entire family around me is changing. Why is that? Why? My wife now, she's a manager at a hair salon. Last year she was part-time. Now she's getting elevated. Her boss is just loving what she's doing. You know, my kids are excelling in all these different things in life. Nothing to do with, me. They're getting good grades. They're not having to use all these prescription medications. They're off the Adderall. Like, oh, how is this? How are we getting off all this stuff? How are we able to do that? And it's really simple. I've been doing this thing called 100 days of grounding. And you guys think that's small things. I'm trying to get some algorithm help all there. No, honestly, here's how this thing works. When you stop drinking, your mind needs something. And it starts going all over. And anyone that's been an alcoholic, you know it's really scary to stop drinking because you wonder, what are you going to do? What am I going to do now? How am I going to fill this void? And how am I going to make myself feel good about filling this void? It's very scary. And your brain has to get really creative. And that's why this electricity stuff intrigued me so much, because it literally pushed all the thoughts of alcohol in my mind. And for the last year, I've been on this quest to figure out how this electricity in my soul connects and how does this operate through my body. I found that our spirit is not inside our body. Our body is inside our spirit. It's the same thing with the earth. Our earth is inside some kind of magnetic field, and it has this hertz. This hertz is 7.83 or something. Actually, inside of our body, there's these two overlapping hertzes that are going on all the time, and it meets at the same sync with 7.83. So there's something going on inside of our body magnetically that's hitting the earth magnetically. And somehow, and according to Heart Math Institution, every person on this earth is connected in this web of this electronic field that we're in. That's crazy. You say, well, how is that even possible? Well, and just think about when you're driving down the road and it's raining, you see these little raindrops hitting your windshield. That's water. They're little individual water. But you take that same drop and you put it in a lake, it disappears in a lake, but it's still the same form. It's still the same thing. It doesn't lose who it is. It just becomes one with it. And that's why in this world right now, there's a lot of changes happening and you're feeling it. It's not just you. You're feeling everybody else's pain. We all feel this to an extent. And the more you get healed, the more you eat right, the more you live right, the more you positively change, you will feel this even more. You will feel other people's stuff even more. And you might be saying, man, I'm already empathetic. I already deal with enough emotions. I don't want to deal with any of that. And that's why I want to tell you, man, you have to learn this word capacity. For years, we've learned this word boundaries. And I love the word boundaries. Boundaries are an important thing. We have to learn to have boundaries. For example, in my home, I need a property line. I need a door. I need to have certain places where windows, and these are the boundaries, and you need to have a lock on them, and I need to know who can come in and who can go out. But that doesn't mean my whole life has to be surrounded by boundaries. It doesn't mean I have to constantly have my door locked. It doesn't mean that nobody's allowed to drive into my driveway, including my own household. So how do we deal with life? And because a lot of times boundaries are one of the biggest things that we learn in life, and we're like, is there more to life than just boundaries? Yeah, capacity, growing in capacity, being able to become more capable. And I'll give you a good example of this, and I'll kind of end for the day. You know, my stepson, Owen, he is a type of personality. He has a lion personality. He likes to be in charge. He likes to be, he's the type of person that, he's a winner. He's a winner. But at the same time, when you have that type of personality, it can actually play against you. So in the past, he's got in trouble with like bullying at school. And you know, Owen and I, we've had in the past especially, we butt heads a lot, man. He's 11 years old, and you know, there was a lot of times where he was just getting in trouble at school. And earlier last year, we were having to meet his other parents. We're actually friends with we're friends with his father and my wife's ex-husband. And we were meeting, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. And during the summertime, Owen and I had just really been going at it. Now, here's the thing. Trauma sometimes can push people into one or two different things. Trauma can sometimes push people farther into their addictions, or sometimes trauma can hit on that heart that's been kind of closed, and you know, we haven't really opened it up, and it can push on that in a way where it opens up. It lets a little bit more electricity in. It lets a little bit more love and these emotions in. And the more that opens up, the more we understand this and we know how to feed this heart that starts to open up, the less stress you're going to have in life and the more peace you're going to have. And it allows you to have empathy towards other people without carrying their stuff, because you start to love yourself, take care of yourself, nurture yourself before you go out and help other people. So here's Owen, and he's sitting in front of his, he's in the middle of the night, he says. He came upstairs, and he said, I had the weirdest thing happen to me last night. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was standing in front of my mirror in the bathroom crying. Now, can you picture this? This hard little lion kid standing in front of the mirror crying. And he said, I was just sobbing. And do you know, ever since that day, he's been different. And I'm not talking about a little different. I'm not talking about, oh, he's just different. No, like, he's different. Like, he's different. Now, here's the thing. Owen was going through a lot of transition at that time. He was going to be going to a new school. He was, you know, having to come to terms with leaving a whole bunch of his old friends. You know, he's coming into, you know, a little bit older, being 11 years, he was going into middle school. He was at a life crisis, and he wakes up in the morning bawling in front of a mirror, and his heart's been softened ever since. That's powerful. Well, what happened? We have our heart. Our heart is not just this thing that pumps, but it's not just this pump. It's not a pump. It's actually a vortex. And there's so much happening inside that heart. It is another brain. And that brain thinks in intuition, in feelings, in emotions, and it's what sends the emotional vibrations up into our central brain up here. And that heart, the more we can open that heart and we can work with that heart and we open up it. And so how do we do that? Positivity, love, gratitude. I've watched Owen now open up in ways that I never thought that young man would. He's a grounding boy. He doesn't like video games. He goes outside in the woods. He likes projects. He's an old soul, man. I've watched his diet change. And these things that I talked about, these 100 days of grounding, we do that here. We might do 30 of those in one. We might do 70 of those in one day. Man, you get a house full of 6 people that have been diagnosed with ADHD, 5 of them that live in this household right now currently. Diagnosed. You can't just sit around and you're either going to get sucked into video games and TVs and alcohol and bad addictions, or you're going to take control of your life. Grounding in many ways. This is so important. I'm going to end with this. You have to ground. Grounding is not just going outside and touching your feet on the earth. That is a very, very, very powerful way, because you got to understand, you are a battery. That's a powerful way to do that. But also putting your hands on the earth is charging. Drinking tea, that is a charging thing. There's things in here that help you ground, because grounding is not just the electricity from the ground. It's actually from your consciousness too. This is proven. Your consciousness too is grounding. So when you find things that bring you rest and peace in your life, my inversion table is grounding to me. Making a fire is grounding to me. I love that my wife, we have rabbits. We have a whole bunch of rabbits. We have some outside, we have some inside, we have some in the ground. We kind of like rabbits. And every night when my wife gets home, not every night, most of the nights when my wife gets home and when the kids get home from school, they get the rabbits and they get together and they hold the rabbits, and they don't even really think that they're holding the rabbits. They just pet the rabbits. They kind of let the rabbits, especially girl rabbits, just kind of run around. And I tell you, it's a powerful, powerful thing. They love, my wife, she will go pick up the kids from school with the rabbits, you know? And so when the kids get into the car, they have a rabbit. That rabbit has electricity in it that our body, when we touch it, it actually, it's not just dopamine going back and forth. It's not just releasing serotonin. It's literally a charge inside those animals, and each animal has its own little different type of charge. That's why when you're petting a dog, you get a different type of charge than when you pet a bunny. I love my lab. I know when I'm stressed out, when something, yesterday, I had a thing hit me yesterday. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday. I could tell it's stressful. Immediately my soul knew, sit down on the couch, where's my chocolate lab? My chocolate lab comes, pet him, gone. Fine, then I can think clearly. That's all this is. It's a million different ways of grounding. And every day I'm gonna be posting it, and I hope people join me. You tell people about it. And I'm gonna be talking more and more about this stuff. You know, I wanna help people understand how the Schumann resonance, you know, plays into this. I want people to understand that the solar flares, because that's how I woke up, man. That's how I felt these charge, and ever since I've been on this electricity quest to understand this charge. And I am not there yet, man. Not there, not even close. I'm baby at this. But man, the world's changing quick. The world's changing, information's pouring in. And for anyone that's hungry and you want to, you know, I don't know, I've lost 65 pounds this year. I feel stronger than I ever have. I've watched my entire family go from ADHD to being happy and being joyful and not having to have all kinds of stimulants to make them happy. I've watched us become more natural and into the nature. I've watched us take care of our pets better, our houses better. I've watched us take care of our bodies better. And it's a powerful thing, this grounding. So keep joining me in this, and no matter what you do, you know, eat fruits.